Count your blessings and see
what the Lord can do.
You ought to count your blessings and see
how He brought you through.
He'll see you.
He'll hear you when you call Him.
He'll see you.
He'll see you when you fall in.
You ought to count your blessings
Count your blessings.
and see what the Lord can do. You ought to count your blessings and see
what the Lord can do.
You ought to count your blessings and see
how He brought you through.
He'll hear you.
He'll hear you when you call Him.
He'll see you.
He'll see you when you fall in.
You ought to count your blessings
Count your blessings.
and see what
The Lord can do.
has been your healer. Has He ever brought you through? Has He ever been your way maker? You can always count that too. Has He ever lift up your burden? Your strength you can renew. You ought to count your blessings and see what the Lord can do. You ought to count. You ought to count. You ought to count. You ought to count. Woke you up this morning. Woke you up on time. You were close in your right mind. Food on your table. I know He's able. My God is able. You ought to count your blessing. Feed, walk in Jesus' name. How good God's been to me. You ought to count your blessings. You ought to count. You ought to count. You ought to count. In the morning, you ought to count. At noonday, you ought to count. In the evening, you ought to count. Midnight hour, midnight hour, midnight hour, midnight hour. You ought to count your blessing. You ought to count. You ought to count. In the morning, you ought to count. At noonday, you ought to count. In the evening, you ought to count. Midnight hour, midnight hour, midnight hour, midnight hour. You ought to count your blessings and see what the Lord